Hey guys, this is Chaitan.
This is Arun.
This is Shiv.
This is Aminder.
And this is Abby.
And welcome back to the Unprofessionals. So last night we just watched Game 6 of the NBA Finals play out, and the first time in 50 years, the title has returned to the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks have won the NBA Finals with the score of 105-98 against the Phoenix Suns, and Giannis Antetokounmpo finally, after 3 seasons of disappointment, we got first round knockouts. We got being up 2-0 to the Toronto Raptors and then being completely demolished. And now he gets to finally say that he's an NBA champion, the third player in NBA history to have a Defensive Player of the Year, an MVP, and a Finals MVP. One of two players to ever have 40 plus points in a game and 10 plus rebounds multiple times in the finals. And just an absolutely extraordinary performance, being the seventh player in NBA history to score 50 plus in a finals. It was a magnificent finals. The Suns were up 2-0 and it looked like it was over. But Milwaukee fought back, win 4 in a row, and they win the series in 6. Arun, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, man. First off, what a final series. Both teams deserve to be here. Whatever you could say whatever about injuries. This is just part of the game. Both teams deserve to be here, and we got a great final series. Shout out to the Bucks, down 0-2, won 4 straight games. Um, to me, that's kind of almost like a sweep. You win 4 straight games in the finals. That people don't think that's hard. That is extremely hard to do. Giannis, this whole series, he's been hooping, man. So yesterday I saw something new in Giannis. This guy does not shy away from the pressure, and his free throw percentage is the one thing that really stood out to me. So we all know he's a very suspect free throw shooter. But yesterday, elimination game, a lot of pressure. I know you're at home and the fans aren't counting to 10 and whatever. You don't have it's pretty quiet when you're shooting free throws, but still, you're at the biggest stage. Um, the the biggest stage. Jathan just noted out that he shot 60% from previous games, but game 6, 17 for 19. What a performance by Giannis. 50 points, 14 rebounds, and not only he got done offensively, he got done defensively like he always does. 5 blocks, that is insane. Drew Holiday, first season with the Bucks, and what a result. You're a champion. First year on the team and you're a champion. They made some major roster moves this last offseason, and Giannis, just to make Giannis happy. And hey, I think he's pretty happy. He's a champion now. The Bucks, you could say whatever. I know Giannis in the post game, he said, I did it without a super team. And I think he's right. We'll talk about this later on in the episode. But man, this guy he won the team that drafted him a championship. It's a dream come true. He's only 26, so, and I think he'll be back in the finals coming up in the future of his career. So, Aminder, what's your thoughts?
So Bucks won the finals. My thoughts on the game was basically Bucks played an amazing game. Giannis was going off. He had 50 points and 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. He almost got to a triple double, but he didn't. But I want to talk about those 5 blocks in the third and fourth quarter. Those were crucial because those were the games when it was getting, they were like neck to neck, they were tied up. But when he had those blocks, that's when it made a difference, and the crowd was going wild. As you guys were watching the game as well. And then a lot of people do talk about how Giannis is the what do you call it, Robin of the team, and Chris Middleton is the Batman. I think by this game, his performance, he proved that Chris Middleton and Giannis are both Batman. Actually, I had one of my friends posted on his story, Parth. he basically said that they're both Batman and Batman. And I actually agree with that because there's moments where Chris Middleton during the game, I think it was second quarter, where was letting them shots flow and there was no one able to guard him. And then you have Giannis dropping 50 on Suns. So I think they accomplished a lot. How about you, Shivam?
Well, I just want to congratulate Giannis, dropping a 50 piece in a closeout game against the Phoenix Suns. Props to them, props to the whole organization. A minute to your last point where you mentioned that they're both Batman, Middleton and Giannis. I don't agree with that. One is the closer. I'll give you that, and that's Middleton. Although yesterday, when it came down the stretch, Giannis was doing everything that he possibly could. He was hitting jump shots that we've never really seen him take so confidently. And he is the Batman. Middleton, he's the closer. But anyways, this series starting off 2-0, I'm pretty sure everybody counted the Bucks out. I don't know what really changed the momentum of the game. I get maybe it's the home court because Abby had mentioned it before. It was the same thing with the Bucks versus Nets. That home court advantage makes such a huge difference, and we saw that last year in the bubble.
And the Bucks were able to steal that road game. I think Shivam, that's what the turning factor was, right?
Game 5.
They stole a game in the desert, didn't they?
Game 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They did, yes. Yeah, no, but I'm talking about them being down 2-0 and then them coming back home. I know they're back home, so I guess yeah, you are right. Them stealing game 5 was a big.
I think that was the turning point because if the Suns won that game, the Bucks are like they're on their heels to win that series. But Bucks had no pressure going home yesterday.
I think the turning point was actually Giannis realizing that
you can't be stopped.
Yeah, one, he can't be stopped.
Basically,
and the Suns' interior defense is lacking.
For sure.
But once he was just like, yo, I can just dunk everything. Because I'm sorry, but Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton just see a freak train just come by him every single time. They're like, yo, I'm not doing this every single time.
Ayton looked like he was a small forward he was like a little small forward trying to
He's a young player too, and he's not the best rim protector. So that was literally the only body they had. They're so desperate. They gave Frank Kaminsky 11 minutes just because they needed an extra body.
And that was a very physical game. The refs really let them play hard ball. There was a lot of no calls in that game, and I'm happy because game 5 there was some iffy, calls that weren't called, but game 6 they really let the players play, and it didn't look like it was one-sided calls. But like I said, yeah, like last season, we didn't see the home court advantage wasn't a thing, which is why we saw, Miami Heat make it all the way to the finals. We saw players, hooping like we've never seen them hoop before. This year, we saw, everything's back to normal. We saw how much of a difference home court makes. And Giannis last night, I think it was clear. Start of the first quarter, midway through the first quarter, they're up, 13 points? The Bucks were, demolishing the Phoenix Suns. But up until the fourth quarter, at the end of the third quarter, it was a tie game, 77-77. It was anyone's ball game. And Abby, I had mentioned this to you while the game was going on in the fourth quarter. If Phoenix Suns had won last night and they just had to play better than the Milwaukee Bucks for 12 minutes. If they did that, I think they would have went back to Phoenix and Phoenix would have won this in 7. But that home court, Giannis just amazed me. 17 for 19 free throws, I think he was.
Yep.
Ridiculous. CP was talking that smack in that post-game conference after game 5, talking about, everyone anticipates Giannis missing free throws. And that is very true. But if I'm Giannis, I'm taking that as disrespect. And what did he come out and do? Not only did he go 17 from 19 from the free throw, he was making jump shots, one-leg jump shots. Just shots. I'm shocked to see, he's out of his comfort zone. And
he's growing as a player, yeah.
Bro, there was that was an A+ game in my opinion. There was not any faults in his. There was no negative. He had 6 turnovers, but that doesn't matter because he had the ball in his hands at almost, all times. Any other points I want to make? Also, this proves I'll get to this later on in the episode, but if I'm Phoenix Suns, I'm up 2-0, and I'm Chris Paul. I'm the only experienced player on the court. I'm the one that needs to show this team how to close. These are all young players. You know, Devin Booker, DeAndre, and never have even seen a finals game, never even seen a playoff game before Chris Paul entered to their team. So if I'm Chris Paul with that veteran leadership, I need to, get my team's head back in the game. I need to show them how to close. Chris Paul did not do that. He had a good fourth quarter. But after game one of this series, he was very underwhelming.
Do you think that's because of his age now?
No, I don't think so.
Or you think he just doesn't have it?
I think he doesn't have it because this is not the first time we've seen him be up 2-0 and not being able to get the job done. I don't think it's age at all because he didn't look like he looked completely healthy to me. He didn't look like he had his foot off the gas. It just looked like he just didn't have what it takes to get it done. And that says a lot about the Suns as I don't know where they go from here on out because that team is getting no better. And the rest of the West is just,
And Chris Paul could leave.
If I were him and I want that ring, I know my shot is not in Phoenix. That's for sure. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for my thoughts on this section.
Okay.
Abby?
Okay.
Oh, let's go.
Okay. Let's begin with these Phoenix Suns. These Phoenix Suns, great season. Got to the finals. Not many thought they could. You want to blame injuries. You want to blame luck. You want to blame whatever you want. You can. But they made it there, and they deserve to be there because they had to win 3 series to get there. Now let's get through this. Let's just go over Game 6 because that's what we're focusing on. We've all went over the previous games. My man, Chris Paul, he played good. He played okay. He played like this was a moment for him. 26 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Not supernatural numbers, but for a player of his caliber, they were very good, especially coming off of a disappointing Game 5. Devin Booker, I don't want to get on him because this man basically was carrying this team on his back Games 4 and 5, but this time it just wasn't his day. You can blame whatever. You can blame being tired from carrying, being tired from all the defenders coming his way. Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton, Giannis, they got bodies. They get paid. PJ Tucker gets paid only to really play defense. And Drew Holiday, we all know what he can do. So Devin Booker, he has to work for every shot that he gets, and that's what happened. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Just nothing, not what you expect from an up-and-coming superstar. 0 for 7 from 3. I know that probably hurts him the most because 0 for 7 from 3, that hurts you. Now we get to the just of this team yesterday. DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder. Why do I bring them both up? Because Jay Crowder, who is at least 7 inches shorter than DeAndre Ayton, who doesn't play center, Jay Crowder plays small forward. He had 13 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton, at 7 feet, whatever inches tall he is, he got 6 rebounds. Jay Crowder had 15 points. DeAndre Ayton had 12 points. I remember at the end of the Clippers series, Chris Paul got interviewed. He's absolutely happy out of his mind because he's about to go to the NBA Finals. But what does he do? He doesn't make it about himself. What does he do? He brings up DeAndre Ayton's name. He brings up Devin Booker's name. But what does he say about DeAndre Ayton? Oh, that man about to get the bag. Really? Because this is the key point that I got from this entire series, this playoffs, about the Suns team. Beware of who you pay. Because there's 2 players on this team who I'm not just saying this because of Game 6. I said this at the trade deadline for this Phoenix Suns team. DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges. They're both very good players. They're both very young players. But when you add a Chris Paul, a 36-year-old future Hall of Famer, you're saying you're going in now. Well, that means you have to get him the help now. And that is not what happened this time around because DeAndre Ayton looked like he was a G Leaguer out there because Giannis single-handedly, I don't know if his confidence maybe at all-time low. High school, college, NBA, that definitely was the worst game DeAndre Ayton may have ever played because of how he performed versus how the opposition performed against him. Jay Crowder had 13 rebounds, double what a 7-footer had, and he stays in the paint. DeAndre Ayton plays a perimeter game. He does not drive the basketball. And then off the bench, you have Frank Kaminsky, who played 11 minutes, 30 minutes less than DeAndre Ayton. He had 6 points and 2 rebounds. Basically, I can basically say his impact in 11 minutes was greater than DeAndre Ayton's, which cannot be said. And then we get to Cameron Payne, who I feel did a phenomenal job when he came into the game. He didn't play that many minutes, but he still had 10 points. He made 2 threes. He only attempted 2 threes. And that was it. Mikal Bridges also, he struggled. I think he had 7 points. I didn't even look up his stats because I knew they were meaningless. Because when you say, I want the money, no, you cannot pay. Because if they pay DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges, basically number 2 and number 3 money, that means you're asking them to be Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Can they be those 2 players? No, they cannot be. Especially if you re-sign Chris Paul, which is something Arun mentioned earlier. Does he stay? Does he go? If he stays, this cannot be the roster because it won't work. I mentioned at the trade deadline a name, Karl Towns. He's a young player, but he has been in this league. He's lost. He's been with Jimmy Butler. He knows the playoffs somewhat. That one year he made it, but he has the game to where this team can be elevated. This is just for future reference, but that was just the main takeaway I got from the Suns yesterday and in this finals, that they are not ready because their so-called third best player and another player, Mikal Bridges, who I love. He is a very, very, very good role player. You cannot pay. Listen, I'm not going to deny anybody getting paid because if they offer you, I'm not going to reject it. That's not the point here, because I hope they all get as much money as they possibly can. That's not what this is about. This is about not everybody is on the same level. And that's why the quote for the Phoenix Suns for me is beware of who you pay, because it's about to get dangerous, in my opinion. The Phoenix Suns just finally made it to the finals since 1993. You pay the wrong players and you fracture your team, guess what? It could be another 30 years. That's the point I'm trying to make about the Phoenix Suns. Now we get to the Bucks. I just got one word for you, and that is Giannis. This man, 2019, Chaitan mentioned it, went against Toronto up 2-1. We all thought it was over. Kawhi Leonard goes into the locker room at halftime and says to Nick Nurse, I got him. Kawhi Leonard was the one that went from the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Boris Diaw, Danny Green, Greg Popovich. He won a ring there. He knows. He was experienced. Giannis was not experienced. I think that was his second playoff, if I'm not mistaken. And then, you know what they did? They built that so-called wall, and that was it. Chris Middleton, he wasn't the player he is right now, and they couldn't do shit. And they lost 4 straight games. Just how, in this situation, the opposite happened, where they won 4 straight games. And another reason why 2019 doesn't count, because Eric Bledsoe was on that damn team. Eric Bledsoe was on the Bucks. Eric Bledsoe was on the team
off
last
the Pelicans.
Year. Guess what? Guess where Eric Bledsoe is right now? He is somewhere in New Orleans looking for crawfish, because that's what he should be doing. Eric Bledsoe was a starting point guard on a team that was expected to win a championship, and that cannot happen. And that's exactly why the Milwaukee Bucks said, deuces to you. We'll give up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday, who is a very good player. He made 1 All-Star team, but he is still not a superstar or star per se. But what can he do? He is a all-time defensive player, and he can get you buckets when needed and if asked to. That's exactly why Drew Holiday was there, and that's exactly what he did. He didn't need to yesterday because Giannis played top 3 greatest game-clinching games in finals history. None of us are that old. We're all 25, 24, whatever, however old we are. So we can't go back to like Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell or Clyde Frazier those days and discuss their game-clinching moments, because we weren't around for that. But in the past 25 years, I can guaranteedly say this was a top 2 to top, at least top 2. The only
top 2,
only other performance I can say that ranks with this is what Michael Jordan did in 1998 when I was 3 years old, when he was in Utah and dropped 45 points by himself when Scottie Pippen had a bad back and was sick. So that was one player going up against 5, and he I know Chaitan loves this reference because he's a Bulls fan. Michael Jordan single-handedly, Game 6, the final game he ever played for the Chicago Bulls, single-handedly ended the Utah Jazz's dreams, and they have not recovered since. And that's what I have to say about the Bucks. Giannis did his job. He is a superstar. This is 26 years old. There's nothing you can say. If you heard his story, you have to love it. This man is built about everything. I've wanted him to win. I didn't pick him to win this series because I was kind of concerned about the knee injury, but he has amazing genes. That's all you can say. This man looked like he was out for a year. Amazing genes, recovered, and now look where he is. And he got 250 pieces. I hope everyone knows this. He got 50 pieces yesterday. He woke up 7 hours later. I don't know if he went to sleep or not. And he went to Chick-fil-A and he celebrated with another 50 piece. And he deserved to because he earned every single point that he got yesterday. Chaitan, your thoughts?
I mean, I just want to add on to your point that for the Michael Jordan reference, Giannis's 50 points is the most points ever in a closeout game for the NBA Finals.
I will say the reason why I'm saying Michael Jordan's ranks, I would rank him higher is because number one, that was in Utah. And number two, Scottie Pippen was basically half dead. Like he had a straight up serious back injury and he was sick. So Chris Middleton was fine. Drew Holiday was fine. Bobby Portis was fine. His players were fine health-wise. That's why I would say, and plus I would say Utah Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone are a better team than this Phoenix Suns team.
I mean, that game also ended with the shot. So
And that.
But just overall, the way I viewed the Bucks to not win that series after being down 2-0, because it was it's the idea that they put into our heads. It's the same old Milwaukee Bucks team.
No. That's all, I don't agree with a lot of people's point about that. It was 2-0. What did Phoenix do? We saw this whole playoff. 2-0 means nothing.
Yeah, but I'm saying in reference to, what we've seen previously, other than the Brooklyn series, we're like, it's the same old Bucks team, right? Until they prove something, it is always going to be the same old team. Because we talked about Utah the same exact way in the regular season. It's like, until you show me in the playoffs, you're the same old Utah Jazz, right? So in this case, I will never talk about Milwaukee as the same old Milwaukee team. They could be down 2-0. They could be down 3-0, 3-1. From now on, I'm going to be like, they always have a chance because they have that championship pedigree. But, when they're down 2-0 and it looked bad in Phoenix, they come back, we thought, game 3, you and I both said, this should be easy Milwaukee win. Easy Milwaukee win. Game 4, I was like, the Suns have a chance. They did, and they just choked at the end. Turnovers, this and that. They could have stolen game 4. They could have stolen game 5. They could have stolen game 6.
They should have stolen game 5.
They should have stolen game 5. Well, it's not even count as I think Milwaukee stole game 5 because game 5.
Yeah, I said it wrong. Yeah, they should have won game 5. That was theirs. The home court, they're up 17. No excuse.
Yeah, and let alone game 6, they were down in the beginning and they come all the way back. It looked like it was over early and Phoenix came back and you're like, okay, no, Phoenix can make it a game. And 77-77 entering the third quarter, you just got to win for 12 minutes. And what Milwaukee proved is I will bring my best players, but that one guy that we have is much better than everyone you have. And that comes, we keep talking about it now is, yesterday I got into a conversation after the series is like, is Giannis a top 3 power forward in this league? I'm like, not yet, but he will be soon.
Wait, is he a top 3 what?
Power forward
ever.
Right now?
Ever.
Okay, see, we had this whole, we were obviously, I can just say, me, Shivam, a couple other people were watching this game yesterday. Listen, man, we are in the moment.
Yeah.
We are in the moment. We have, I'm not saying this about you or anyone else here. We have, listen, and everyone knows how much of a Giannis fan I am since 2019, what I've been saying about this man and this Bucks team. But listen, this recency bias has got to stop.
Abby, then who would you put over Giannis power forwards?
Tim Duncan.
Everybody with a brain could say Tim Duncan.
Karl Malone, still without a ring right now, is better.
Malone has never led a team like Giannis, though.
I'm still taking
Malone has one of the craziest all-time stats, Malone, but he has never led a team like Giannis has.
Okay, Arun, since you're of course you're a huge AD fan, do you put Giannis over AD?
Healthy AD, I don't know, man. Now I'll put Giannis over AD.
And this is the point I'm trying to make here. The point is, I'm not
But
saying Giannis
listen.
will not go down higher than them
Yeah.
when his career is all said and done. I'm saying if Giannis' career ended right now, the fact that there are people and bro, every social media or sports network is legit giving out all-time lists out of nowhere. Just a month ago, when they were down 2-0 against the Brooklyn Nets, what the hell were they saying?
Agreed.
So, and let's not forget, people bring up the injuries thing, and I'll say this as a devil's advocate. We do know that Kyrie Irving and James Harden, we know about the situation. So I will say that openly, even though I even picked this on the Bucks to get to the finals. But the point being, you cannot disrespect the players that have played in this game.
Abby, I do agree with that, but if you give me a top 5 list, I would have to go through,
He's top 3,
all
man.
time, but I think he's top 5, hands down.
Top 5? I'll give you top 5.
Top 5,
3?
yes.
I cannot give you that right now. There's no way.
But
He's
like,
accomplished a lot.
Then list who? Tell me top 5. Karl Malone. Who else?
Timmy is one.
Me,
Undisputed.
Yeah, of
Dirk,
course, Timmy.
Karl Malone,
1,
those
2.
are top 3.
Charles
Dirk
Barkley.
Nowitzki?
What,
KG.
Dirk? I put Dirk over Giannis.
KG?
That's
Chase,
a
keep
KG.
going. Keep preaching, bro. Keep preaching.
Man, Dirk has never been a force on the defensive side like Giannis has.
Yeah,
Listen,
but he single-handedly.
You said KG?
KG.
Right now, Kevin Garnett he's ranked higher than Giannis
No, he's
right now.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
And that's just
He already got
Kevin Garnett.
Two-time MVP.
He has an MVP.
Two
He has a
times.
defensive player of the year, and he has a title.
Giannis has that, but he has one more MVP, and he's only 26.
Yes, but for the time, that's it. He's only 26.
No,
It's not saying
what does Kevin Garnett have that Giannis doesn't?
longevity.
The second Kevin Garnett got even close to some type of help, he went to the NBA Finals and won a ring.
Kevin Garnett never even won a defensive player of the year. No way.
Yes,
But
he
we
has.
can't just use.
He won
Okay,
defensive player.
if
in
you're making the
2007.
argument that Giannis is a more accomplished player than here's the thing, accomplished and being better at this present moment, a ranked higher, is two different things in my opinion. The most accomplished player of all time is Bill Russell. Is he the greatest player of all time? Heck no.
Listen, Giannis, yes, he's hands down more accomplished.
So you would take KG over
I'm
Giannis?
taking Giannis. Giannis is a
Okay.
defensive. Giannis is just way more. I'm taking Giannis over KG.
But if we're
My
talking
point
skills,
is,
if we're
somehow
talking
Giannis, his
skills,
career, and somehow Giannis retired right now. Let's just hypothetically just do this.
I'm taking
Right now,
Giannis.
Giannis retires. Kevin Garnett will go down as a higher ranked player than Giannis right now.
I don't agree.
In my opinion,
I agree with
You
Abby
saw
on
that
that
list
one.
I sent you on IG. I don't know who made the list. Was it Complex? I know Complex is not a sports thing, but they already have Giannis as top 30.
and that's the thing. That's the recency bias.
Listen, I'm not, no disrespect to Kevin Garnett, but I'm taking Giannis over KG. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm not saying I would take Kevin Garnett over him if I were picking a player. I'm saying career accolades, what they did, how long they played, when they did it, where do they rank right now? This is not about personal opinion. It's about where would you rank them if somehow Giannis' career ended right now. Obviously, in my opinion, if Giannis, he's 26 years old, he's going to play at least another decade in this league.
But
Will he go down higher? Yes.
We're getting sidetracked here, but I just want to know, what does Kevin Garnett have, or what did Kevin Garnett do that you're definitively putting him
He
over?
carried the most mirror-bun franchise in NBA history, and he got them to a conference finals with absolute zero help. And then when he finally went to a team, then got Kevin McHale, who was the GM at the time of Minnesota, sent his ass to Boston. He got finally some help. Two players that were also much older, Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. What did they do? First year, got a ring. What did they do the next year? Went to the finals and lost to Kobe and Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum, Derek Fisher, Ron Artest, etc. So they went to two finals. As soon as he got help, he went to two finals. He won one ring. I think, Rune, you may know this. I think they lost the second one in Game 7.
Yep, Game 7.
Yeah. So that's the point. Context matters. Kevin Garnett is one of the most. I'm not saying you guys are doing this, but Kevin Garnett is one of the most not talked about players because of where he was. That man was stuck in freaking Minnesota, and Minnesota has done nothing ever. He took him to their one and only conference finals and won an MVP.
And take it in this context, right? Say Giannis did put up that 50 piece, but they lost. We're not talking about Giannis as a top 3 power forward right now. That's what recency bias does.
Well, one thing
Hey,
is,
hold on. Wasn't this the group of people amongst us that felt that Giannis would have lost the MVP to LeBron if that bubble if the so the second MVP really doesn't even fully factor in there.
No, not the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year.
That does.
Yeah,
So right now,
both.
technically, Giannis got 1 real MVP, 2 questionable MVP.
All right,
And-
then AD
we don't go
AD
by-
has a Defensive Player of the Year. Then he has a award. Then
Oh, I'm
I'll-
taking Giannis over AD any day of the week. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
The reason why I say this is because
AD is heads and shoulders skilled wise above Giannis.
okay.
I
Giannis
took-
is just a
if I
freak.
took Giannis off of this Bucks team and I put AD in, same team, I do not see them being here.
They don't, but AD is more skilled. I'm not gonna say
Man,
AD
you give
better.
AD like Chris Milton, you gotta give him props. Y'all making seem Chris Milton some scrub. This man poured it on, man. It's not like he averaged 15, 16. This man poured it
But
on.
Chris Middleton is
AD
robbing.
never had a teammate like Chris Milton.
And
AD,
his shots when he shoots and he makes those buckets at
AD had
crucial
Drew
times.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Arun said it, and so did
And
Shabam. He's a
these-
closer.
Yeah,
Do not call him Batman. Do not
Batman.
call him
Come on,
Batman.
stop it. He's not
AD
a-
never had a closer, man. Who's
Listen,
AD's closer on Pelicans when he was on the Pelicans? Yeah,
Oh,
Drew
no,
Holiday.
I'm gonna say obviously this Bucks team is better than any team that Anthony Davis played on the Pelicans. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that if I hypothetically was able to give this exact same team to Anthony Davis,
This team is
I
built
don't
for-
believe, and we will never get to see that until LeBron retires, that they would get to.
And
this-
you gotta give the Bucks props, man. They built this team perfectly for
Now to
For
really
Giannis.
pull back in, the Milwaukee Bucks built a absolutely what they did in the
this
last.
team was supposed to be better. They had Bogdanovich. And some snitch,
Yeah, that's
some
one.
fuck ruined it.
But if you think about it this way, is when Giannis was drafted, he was one, a project prospect, and two, they were the worst team in the NBA at one point
Mhm.
with Giannis on that team.
Giannis and Chris Middleton. I think
Yeah.
Chris Middleton was on that
Chris
team.
Middleton was in the G League.
He was just like a 60 overall.
Chris
and
Middleton
2K
was brought in, if people remember, from the Brandon Jennings trade
Yeah,
to the throw-in.
Oh wow!
He was
I
a
don't
To
remember
the
that.
throw-in.
Damn, that's a
That's
legend.
how
right
he
there.
became a Milwaukee Buck. And look where and it's so crazy because Brandon Jennings was
was there
sitting
yesterday.
right there yesterday watching his old team win a championship for the first time in 50 years.
Yo, was Tobias Harris also in that trade?
We getting sidetracked. I have no idea.
No, all I remember is there at one point Tobias Harris was also a Buck, and
He got drafted by the Bucks.
it's the strangest thing, but overall, just they went from one of the worst franchises. No one wanted to go there. You know, I still remember that they put up a fight against the Chicago Bulls in I think 2015. I think that was the first Giannis playoffs. And Giannis clotheslines Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Yep.
And he gets suspended like the first 2 games of the season. You know, Jason Kidd figures out what he's doing with Giannis. He makes Giannis a better player, a better passer. And then, you know, they bring in Budenholzer, who after yesterday, I'm not going to complain about Budenholzer unless there's something really to complain about, because for 2 years I kept complaining about how he doesn't make adjustments and this is why the team is never going to win. I can't complain about that anymore. To now they're NBA champions and they come in next year. When they come in next year, they get to hold their heads up high. They get to walk into every arena with a target on their back. And I think Giannis is just he's going to enjoy that. Because Giannis seems like the player that just enjoys having that target on his back. Because whenever he went on the road, they were booing. They were counting down on the free throws. And then he sinks 17 of 19. I've never seen such clutch free throw shooting from
That was-
anyone that bad.
From Giannis. It's like Shaq doing that. Think about that.
I'm sitting there like, at one point, they're like, oh, he's 12 for 12. I'm like, what?
Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. That-
I was saying that all day after that game. I was like, yo, Ben Simmons can suck it because I don't know what Giannis did, but Giannis figured it out.
Yeah, yo, there was this one bar. I don't know where it was in I think it was in Milwaukee, that was giving away one free shot for every shot, the free throw that he made, or was it that he would miss?
Every free throw that he made. Yo, they gotta give out 17. Yo, I would have. Yo, me and Shiv would have been out.
All right. Let's
All
move
right,
on.
now we gotta move over.
Let's
Okay,
talk
we
about
went
these Suns.
We'll talk about the Suns, and specifically, obviously the season ended. Most people did not expect them to be here. They are here. They went to the finals. They lost in 6. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But they have pieces. We mentioned them. They have Chris Paul. He had a decision to make. This decision got a lot harder, in my opinion. But regardless, the Suns' future now going forward, that's what we're gonna discuss. And Chris Paul. So Aminder, what are your thoughts on the Suns' future, and what do you think Chris Paul? What does this mean for Chris Paul, and what do you think he may do?
Well, I was watching the post game interview with CP3, and then he said he's not done. He's like, let's run it back. So, I mean, whether I just don't know if he's gonna run it back with with Phoenix Suns, or does he want to go somewhere else? Because potentially there was like rumors today that they're interested. The Lakers are interested in either CP or Westbrook, but we could talk about that later. The Suns also, I think they need to make changes around the bench as well. They definitely need more bigger players. They need more bigger small forwards, power forwards, or center. Ain's not doing it for them. I'll be honest. Like you were saying before, Abby. Like get the bag. He's not getting the bag. They need someone that can actually get the bag. And the reason why I'm saying they need more big men is because if you look at the rebounds, I know you're going against what do you call Milwaukee Bucks. They're full of big men, especially Giannis, who's going to be going for those rebounds. If you look at for game 6, 52 rebounds for the Bucks compared to 37. So that's why I say like you need to get the rebounds, and especially for turnovers, like I don't know, man. 14 turnovers for the Suns and 18 for the Bucks. So they had 4 double chances, to get score. Another thing I want to point out was, which you mentioned earlier, was Booker going for 0 for 7 from the 3-point line. I don't know, like he shouldn't be missing those shots. Some of those shots, like he just forced them. Some of them, like he just didn't have any clean plays, so they need to clean up with the plays because they're playing really, really sloppy. And my biggest problem is Crowder. He needs to stop shooting them threes because he went 2 for 9, 22% from the three. Listen, you're a forward. You're not a. I get you can shoot sometimes, like some clutch shots, but you can't be always going for them threes. He missed 2 or 3 wide open shots. And speaking of missing wide open shots, you had CP3 missing in the second quarter, wide open shots twice. And so I don't know. I mean, like that's my thoughts on the Suns and the CP3. So I'm gonna hand it over to Arun now.
All right, so CP3 is going to be one of the main free agents if he plans to opt out. He still, if he does, if he opts back in on his contract, he still has 1 more year, which is 44 mil for the remaining year of his contract. But he, like I said, he does have a option to opt out. Now, if he opts out, I don't think the Suns are going to be legit contenders coming up next season. But if he opts back in, I do think that with some minor tweaks, this team could be like really, really good. I think even better. For example, they already have shooting with Saric, Book, CP, Bridges. Bridges is still on the books for another season. Still got Jay Crowder on the books for 3 more seasons. Actually 2 more seasons after this past season. CP3 is going to be there, obviously. If you could get a rim protecting big, I feel like that could really help the Suns, because we saw in that last series, Giannis got whatever he wanted in the paint, no rim protection. Ayton, good player, no rim protection, and teams are they're gonna exploit that coming up next season. So that's a whole. If I'm the Suns and I'm running that organization, I'm going out there and I'm getting a big man that could protect the rim, and I'm bringing back CP3. But if CP3 leaves, I don't think this team is gonna sniff a Western Conference Finals unless they go out there and re-sign another player to replace CP3. But they got some critical contracts coming up. Cameron Payne balled out this postseason, definitely deserves some money. So let's see if they pay him. I think he's gonna leave. He's gonna get a better contract from another team. That's gonna be a major blow. Torrey Craig is going to be gone next season. But the Suns, they have to, if they want to contend, they have to re-sign Chris Paul, and they have to make a few adjustments. Like I said, get that rim protector, because you already have that shooting, you already got that floor general, you already got that superstar, and you already got somebody in the middle in Ayton that could put the ball in the bucket. So I think the Suns should keep CP3. But if CP3 does leave, you already know where I think he should go.
We'll get into that some
Lakers.
other time. We'll get into that some other time.
Okay, I just want to put that out there,
Yeah.
so I can speak it in his existence.
Yeah, yeah.
CP3, come to LA, be that third option. Just stay healthy, team up with your buddy LeBron, and help AD win another ring or two.
Javon.
All right. Well, as a LeBron Laker fan, I would hope that CP opts out, but I would another part of me hopes he doesn't, just so next season I can prove to all of you that this Suns team are fraud, not frauds, but they outperformed, of course, what we all thought. Nobody thought they were making it to the finals, but you will see next season when the rest of the league is healthy that the Phoenix Suns, however successful they are in the regular season, they will do absolutely nothing in the playoffs. This was their year. This is almost anyone that's not the Lakers, the Clippers, Brooklyn, or Philly. This was anyone's chance to win the chip this year without the big name, the big stars all out. This team right now, the Phoenix Suns made it to the finals. But Abby, I've emphasized this to you countless times. This is the first series that we've seen in the playoffs for the Phoenix Suns in which they played a healthy team. Lakers, top two players, LeBron not 100%, AD's injured. And AD's out. Against the Clippers, the number one player, Kawhi Leonard, is out. Against Denver Nuggets, the second player, the second main player, Jamal Murray, is out. Phoenix has not played one healthy team. The first healthy team we see them play, what happens? They lose 4 in a row, because I am trying to tell you guys that CP, yes, he's the point guard, but he is not a closer. He is not that guy. Phoenix is not that team. So if I'm Phoenix, I'm going to take a hard. I need to. You have some very serious decisions to be made, because even if you re-sign Chris Paul and you give him 44 mil for the year, what does that really do? What is considered a success for Phoenix Suns? It's either a chip or nothing. Because if you don't make it to the finals, if you make it to the first round, second round, the conference finals, that's a failure in my opinion. So if I'm the Suns, where do I go from here? I have absolutely no idea. Chris Paul is also 30. He will be 37 years of age. Chris Paul is also not a closer. Chris Paul is also not the healthiest guy. Can you put all that pressure on him for him to stay healthy, for him to, do all these things? Yes, he's a phenomenal player, but I just don't know. For the Suns franchise, I think.
Okay, hold on, just for 1 second. What? How long of a contract would you allow Chris Paul to have?
No more than 2 years, and you gotta be careful. Don't give him the max.
No. I give him. If I'm Phoenix, I hope he just accepts the 1 year player. I'm not giving him an extended contract.
It sounds like what Chris Paul. Obviously, we're a couple of weeks away from free agency, but it sounds like he wants 3 years, $100 million.
So he opts out this remaining contract.
He will opt out this,
Okay.
and even if he's with the
3 years,
Suns, he
100 mil.
wants 3 years, $100 million.
I think that's fair. 30 mil. I feel like he should be getting paid like 30 mil, 25, 35 mil.
I don't see what else Phoenix can do. I don't know who else they can attract in terms of free agency. So I guess I give it to him, because if I don't have him, I'm probably not even going to make the playoffs. But just know this, whatever they offer him, 3 years, whatever it is, they will not be in the finals for the next 3 years at least, guaranteed.
All right.
Unless we have another injury-ridden season like this. But
all points that are somewhat valid. But I will say, the Phoenix Suns, they have a bright future, and they have a bright future if they do 2 things. And by bright future, I mean immediate future, going past 2 years. You have Denver coming back. Jamal Murray will be back sometime next season. Kawhi Leonard, we don't know. He likely is out all of next season, so you can count the Clippers out right there. Utah, we'll see about them. Portland, Dame, that is the biggest player we don't know about. And then we have, obviously, the other the Lakers, obviously, with AD and Anthony Davis, and whoever else they may add coming back. Luka in Dallas. There's plenty of teams in the West, and Golden State. Klay Thompson is coming back. They're gonna make some moves. They have two lottery picks.
Nuggets.
So the Phoenix Suns, Nuggets, with Jamal Murray coming back sometime next year. The Phoenix Suns cannot rest on their laurels because it's not a guarantee, but they can make it in their favor if they do two things. Number one, which we all know, Chris Paul gotta be back. I would give him 3 years, $100 million. That's the price you pay for what he's done for you and what impact he's made from missing the playoffs for over a decade, and then you get to the NBA Finals, regardless of the circumstances. You got to keep him. And now this is the move. I've been preaching this move. It has to happen. I want established. I want proven. I want the better player. DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges. If I have to trade 2 for 1, I will do it. I'm calling Minnesota, and I'm not getting off the phone until I have Karl Towns on my team. Bring back Kentucky from 2014 with Devin Booker and Karl Towns, because those two almost won a national championship together years ago in college. Bring them both back. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Karl Towns, go to battle. That is what you have to do. I would insert Cam Johnson into the starting lineup if I have to trade Mikal Bridges, and then I go.
You're gonna have to get rid of Mikal, Ayton, and one more piece.
I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up Cam Johnson. I need him. And I'll give you potentially, I don't even know. What else you want? You want Crowder? I'll give you Crowder. You could have Crowder.
You could have Sarge, Crowder, Javon Carter if you want him, Jalen Smith if you want him.
Draft picks. I'll give you 2 first. I'll give you 2 draft picks, and I'll give you those 2 players. I need an established star and a player that has been rotting in a horrible situation. And now I can, if they had Karl Towns,
because he's not getting paid much.
Like Karl Towns can shoot the 3. Karl Towns got a whole game as a center. He's just playing for. We go back to Kevin Garnett. He's playing in Minnesota, and he will never do anything there. So bring him to Phoenix, and now.
But I think even if they sign Cat, let's say Cat was on this team and they played Giannis, I think Giannis will still tear apart Cat. That still doesn't solve their core problem, which is rim protection. Like I said, they're still going to have to go out there and get a solid rim protector.
I would love to have seen that matchup.
And you're going to have to replace Mikal Bridges and his shooting. So, and that was very cheap production at $4 million.
But I agree with Abby because I feel like Cat is more aggressive in the paint.
Cat is more aggressive, yeah. No, he's a better player than Ayton.
But Abby, I was gonna say, would you want all 3 friends to be on the same team? D'Lo, Booker, and Cat.
No, not D'Lo. No,
D'Lo.
No, because I got Chris Paul.
That won't work.
That's true.
I got Chris Paul. I got Devin Booker, and I got my big 3, a real big 3. I have my new big 3, and now I'll go to battle with whoever I got to play against. I keep Chris Paul. I don't let him go to the Lakers. That's one addition. That's one thing right there. Clippers. Listen, man, Kawhi Leonard, there's no way he's playing next year. This man sat out a whole year with a knee sprain, bro. He's not coming back next year. We all know this. Utah, listen, they got their own problems. Donovan Mitchell made one out of Utah. So forget about them, to be honest, as of right now. Dame Lillard, oh my God. God knows where he's going or staying. And then Luka, they don't got enough as of right now. We'll see. So, yes, if you add Karl Towns, you are Western Conference Finals. I would pick them right now. If you told me tomorrow that they got Karl Towns, I would say the Los Angeles Lakers and Phoenix Suns are going to the Western Conference Finals next year. That's how I would say it. So that's how much I feel you're getting better. You're not getting worse. Chayton, what do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna
on the Suns and Chris Paul going forward.
I completely agree with you there. It's just, if you look at it in hindsight, first thing you gotta do is obviously re-sign Chris Paul. But if you don't re-sign Chris Paul, we're just gonna be like, yeah, the Suns are a one-hit wonder because you've got a sleeping giant in the Bay Area coming through, and just looking at the Western Conference itself is if Jamal Murray is back by February and the Nuggets are competing, you got them to worry about. You have an up-and-coming Dallas team. We keep talking about Dallas. They're always one piece away because they have Luka. You got LA when healthy. The other LA team, we saw what they could do with their Kawhi Leonard. They're not going to be a Western Conference Finals team, but the hand is stacked against you if you don't re-sign Chris Paul. But now you have to do even more because there are more teams out there. Like if the entire field stays healthy, I'm not picking the Phoenix Suns to make the finals. And I think James Jones needs to realize that too, is you have all these great players together. Dario Saric is not playing anytime next year because he got hurt in the finals. So that's just a roster spot gone. He's not playing, right? And he was your backup center. He was going to be the one when DeAndre Ayton wasn't playing minutes, he was going to play minutes at center against Giannis. So he's completely out. And I'm sorry, but they wasted that first round pick on Jalen Smith when they could have gotten a guy like Tyrese Halliburton to back up Chris Paul. He would have been a pretty good addition. He played really well for the Sacramento Kings. And I guess just overall, what more can you do as a team? Because if Bradley Beal's on the trade block, someone's going to trade for him. Jaylen Brown, we say, might be on the trade block. Someone's going to trade for him. The whole landscape of the NBA is about to change because Damian Lillard also asked for a trade. So, there are spots open, but the Western Conference has been so competitive in the last 10 years that I'm just like, you got to do a lot to get to where you are again. Because we've only seen a few teams make the NBA Finals back-to-back years. The anomaly is LeBron James's team, the Warriors, and the San Antonio Spurs. That's about it in the last, 5 years? Those are the only 3 teams to make the finals multiple in back-to-back years.
All right. I think we discussed Phoenix Suns present, future, and Chris Paul. The Bucks we don't really gotta discuss because listen, they got their squad. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Giannis, they all signed up. They all got long-term extensions. So they're not going anywhere. This is the Milwaukee Bucks team. And now we get to a thing that a lot of people are saying about, I don't know if they're trying to demean the Bucks or trying to demean the other competition, but the question is this Milwaukee Bucks team, would you categorize this as a super team? And I guess I'll start off. I will say no, because a super team means you have multiple superstars. You only have one. That's the easiest way, simplest way, fastest way to even end this discussion, because there's one guy and you have 2 basically borderline star players. They all know their roles. Drew Holiday, he plays defense. He scores when he can. And then you have Chris Middleton, who's a closer. They don't have 2 other players that can do basically a multitude of things every single time. And that's why the Milwaukee Bucks are not a super team. They play as a team. They're not a super team. And one of the arguments people are making is the Lakers from last year a super team?
Look,
now that's
No.
kind of interesting.
No.
And that's why Arun and Siobhan being here is very interesting here, because that's kind of interesting. I'm really conflicted on that, because you had LeBron, who was the greatest player in the NBA last year, and then you had AD, who I think last year we can say was a top 5, bare minimum top 8 player. So that's like, we know Giannis is a top 3, top 5 player as of right now. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday would not even scratch top 20.
No.
So,
A super
okay,
team,
Siobhan, go ahead. You can start off. Do you believe this team is a super team? And also your thoughts on the Lakers as a super team.
I know it was Steven Jackson that said that they're a super team. I think that is just the way to demean this team, because that is absolutely ridiculous. A super team is at least 3 players, all in their current primes. Besides Giannis, who the hell is a superstar or in their prime Hall of Fame player right now on the Bucks team? I can't name anyone but Giannis. Chris Middleton, great player. nowhere close to a superstar. So no, the Bucks are not a super team. I think that word is just thrown out there way too loosely. There have been the only super team in the league right now is Brooklyn. They've had no results yet, but on paper, you have 3 Hall of Fame players all in their prime right now. That's the only super team in this league currently. And the last super team that we've had was, again, the same team with KD on them, the Golden State Warriors. Last year's Lakers team, besides LeBron and AD, and I think LeBron's not in his prime anymore. Still an all-star, still a superstar. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. But regardless, even if let's say he's still a top 3 player along with AD. That team is not a super. Is not.
Shabbat, before Arun gets in this or Chaitan gets in this, since you're saying 3, I just want to mention this because the Lakers team with Shaq and Kobe, Shaq and Kobe was considered a super team.
Who considers them a super team? They are both phenomenal players. I just don't think it's a super team. It's a 1-2 punch. It's like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Whoa.
Okay.
Scottie Pippen can't scratch one of those two.
Were the Bulls a super team?
No, because they had one guy.
Oh, then the Lakers 04 team with Kobe and Shaq. No, they're not a super team. They have 2 superstar players.
You need 3. So your reasoning is they need 3, right?
Yeah, I don't listen. Shaq is the most dominant big man. Kobe's Kobe. No explanation needed. Yes, they're probably a better 1-2 punch than of course, Shaq is much better than Scottie, but neither of them are super teams. And anyone that says that is just trying to discredit any of these teams.
And I know why you guys think they might be a super team because Karl Malone and Gary P. But like Siobhan
I'm not
said,
even counting that year because those guys were done.
Year. But
you counted the year before?
The year they won
has to be in their prime. You need 3 players. 1-2, a 1-2 punch is one thing, but when you have 3 legitimate prime all-star caliber, Hall of Fame caliber,
they have to be in their prime too. Yeah,
they have to be in their prime.
So that means the only super team of this generation is the Golden State Warriors.
No, Brooklyn Nets.
No, you forget the Nets, yeah.
And Miami.
Well, yeah.
D-Wade was in his prime.
How would Miami be in that?
See, but
was LeBron not in his prime? Was D-Wade not in his prime? Chris Bosh was
yeah.
So then we gotta put Cleveland in this too. Then
Kyrie.
I don't
Kyrie,
think,
Kevin Love.
See,
I don't know about the whole Kyrie thing. I don't
They
think
were. I don't know because like it's tricky because you can say that was a super team, but then the team that they were going against was like just next level super team. So I don't know.
My issue here is, the way we want to describe a super team is they need 3 guys, right? But the way I want to describe a super team is that prolonged dominance that you had, because the first Bulls run, it was MJ, right? It was, and then you can give it to Scottie. That second run was MJ, Scottie, Dennis Rodman, who are all 3 top 50 players all time.
Mm-hmm.
That's Shaq and Kobe. I don't think I've ever seen a duo more dominant than those 2 guys. And if they stayed together any longer, they would have won more than 3 titles.
When you have 2 of the top 10 players of all time, it's very difficult to not say that's not a super team.
Exactly.
Same thing with Magic and Kareem. 2 of the top 10 greatest players of all time. Everyone's list, Kareem and Magic are in the top 10. Shaq and Kobe are in the top 10. I would say you would have to put them there. Then we get to Larry Bird, Kevin McHale,
Robert Parrish,
Johnson. Like that's what. So I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That's why I love this. To be honest, I love this conversation because it's kind of
tricky. Yeah,
I can name it off right now.
I think being a super team and playing superb are 2 different things. Just because you have a bunch of super.
Yeah, I'm gonna point this out right now, Shabab.
Dominance is what makes them a super team.
Because let's get back to the topic. It was Bucks. Are Bucks considered a super team?
That was laughable when I heard that.
Because it's just because Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton stepped up in the finals compared to the regular season. Just because they stepped up doesn't mean that's a super team. They just happen to step up and contribute. Like for example, Chris Milton's he averaged 5 more points compared to the regular season. Drew Holiday averaged 3 more points and 3 more assists in compared to the finals to the regular season. So these guys just stepped up. It's not that these guys were already these players. No, these guys just stepped up. Unlike a super team where KD, Curry, and Clay, where you already know that these guys are gonna contribute no matter what happens. You know, Chris Milton, Drew Holiday, we didn't know if they were gonna show up. We didn't know if Drew Holiday was. Remember that one game Drew Holiday didn't even show up. He went 4 for 20 that one game. I forgot
Yep.
what. I think it was game
He
4
went
or
4 for
5.
19 yesterday.
4 for 19. Yeah.
Yeah, if you were considered that a super team, then Drew Holiday wouldn't be shooting. 4
Okay.
for 20.
Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton also are both making the max. I'm just saying.
And
They're
it's
making max
just
money.
everybody just knows
Everyone
their
makes max money.
roles.
No, that's the point. That's the point. They're max money, so I expect you to play decent basketball, man.
So
So yeah, that's
let me-
why this is a joke to think this team is a super. That's flat out a joke, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Okay, now let me play devil's advocate here. Say Bogdanovich was on this team. Would you say it's a super team?
No.
You still wouldn't.
Yo,
Okay.
the term super team.
Okay, let's get Aminder. Let's get Aminder. He didn't go yet. Aminder, what do you think?
Well, I was just gonna add on to what Arun was saying. What
Go ahead.
basically Arun was trying to say is that it's just talent being unleashed. That's it. It's plain and simple. That's it. That's it. They're just stepping up and they're just showing up. That's it. Yeah, sometimes they don't, but most of the times they are showing up and then getting buckets and doing, having that great teamwork, passing the ball, getting their players open, always putting pressure, and the plays are just great and clean. Simple as that. So I mean, to answer the question, they're not a super team though.
Well, I think everyone
just-
here agrees this
Yeah,
is not a super team. Yeah.
And that's the way you asked earlier too about the Lakers. No, they're not a super team either.
Arun,
Yeah,
what do you
Lakers
think?
now
Arun,
over.
I don't think I got your comment on that.
Abby, do you think they're a super team?
the Lakers from last year?
Just yes or no?
No.
Yeah, with Montrez and Mark and the last team with Drummond.
I want to say I don't think I don't see something.
They
I
had
don't
Drummond
think so.
too. Oh,
I don't
shit.
think so.
And
Because
this is-
if I compare LeBron and AD to Shaq and Kobe, it's 2-2. But the Shaq and Kobe one, that's a whole different ball game we talking about. Because Shaq was Anthony Davis. Arun, I know you love him. I think he's a great player too. But Shaq is a top
Is
10.
the most dominant player ever.
Shaq is
No
what
answer.
Giannis is now.
Yeah.
Shaq
And,
was
and Shaq did
Giannis.
this for seasons.
Yes, Shaq was averaging 30 and 15 in the finals.
Yeah.
Shaq was Giannis of the beginning of the century. That's what he was. And now you added prime, not prime, but entering number 8 Kobe, not 24, not the wise Kobe, but the young freak, athletic Penny Hardaway / Michael Jordan version of Kobe. LeBron, like Shavam said, LeBron's prime was in Miami, not in last year. Anthony Davis, he's in his prime, yes. But even Anthony Davis, he's not Shaq. And
No.
LeBron James last year, can you say he was equal to Kobe from that time period? You can make the argument, and I won't deny that because he was still, in my opinion, the greatest.
He was an
player.
MVP candidate, man. When
Yeah,
healthy.
he was the best player last year in the NBA. So that's why, yes,
Father time.
that I give you. So
Crazy.
LeBron, yes, AD was not even close to Shaq, in my opinion. So that's why when you say that's why when you say you need 3, like that's where because this Brooklyn Nets 3, James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, is individually compared to Clay, Steph, and KD. We can both agree we would take KD and Steph
Yes,
over KD and
I'm
Kyrie.
saying that 3 over this 3.
But then you put James Harden in this individual player. I despise James Harden, the player, obviously, but individually, he has accomplished way, way, way more than Klay Thompson.
So in that fact, they're both super teams. And like Shaitan's point, it's not only how good the players are, it's sustained dominance over a period of time. Last year's Lakers, it was kind of one and none. If they were healthy, they would. I think they would have been in the finals. But with the super team, for sure that they will 99% they will be in the finals.
That's the point right there. That's the point right there.
Right
they
there.
are favored to win the finals.
Only the Lakers fans here had Lakers making it to the finals, or everybody else. Shaitan had I don't know who he said he was going to the finals, but I know it wasn't Lakers. Abby,
Yeah, Mavs.
You had Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, but when we
who's making it out the West? Sorry, 5 years ago, Warriors, not even a question.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
So it's just I no, they weren't in my opinion super teams. There's only been a handful of super teams. Miami Heat.
I can name them off right now. The 86 Celtics, 96 Bulls, the 2000 Lakers. Then it's
our list. Yeah, our list
San
different. 'Cause
Antonio.
I don't have either of those teams.
we always forget San Antonio.
No. Because Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili are not superstars.
They're not superstars.
They are
Yeah,
Hall of
no.
Famers.
They're Hall of Famers, but
They're
I
Hall of
wouldn't call
Famers.
that a super team.
They're
Yeah,
Hall of Famers.
But
but
prolonged dominance, they were dominant for 20 years.
They are, but I feel like there's just so many factors to it. But I'm not saying they're
They were
superstars.
dominant for 20
But you got to realize, like back then, like the league was a lot different than what it is now, too.
but they were dominant for 20. They took out the same Detroit Pistons team that took out the 2000 Lakers. They then come back and take out
But that was what David Robinson.
Miami Heat.
But that's what I'm saying. Like back then, the league was different. So back then, your dominance was a lot different than what is dominance now in the league. I would say.
But
So I'm
that-
agreeing. I'm agreeing. That's what I'm saying. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. Like
I
Chazon.
love Tony Parker. I love my
Yeah.
my favorite players of all time. They're not top 75 players ever. So, like, it's very hard to say that.
Yeah, it's just a
prolonged
Yeah.
dominance.
group of players. I don't know. I just feel like super team is just
But-
it has to be superstar caliber players.
But how many teams can you say have been a dynasty?
See, dynasty and super teams are not the same thing in my
They're
opinion.
different. Yeah, those are really different.
But
Spurs are a
I
dynasty.
think
That's
a
actually
lot
good
of times
that
they
you brought that up.
go hand in hand.
They do. A super team can be a dynasty, but I don't think
Yeah.
just because you're a dynasty, you're a super team.
All right, but take this in a hypothetical sense, right? Say Brooklyn never wins a title with this big three, right? Would you?
You're still a super team,
They will still be a super team,
but,
But-
they're not a dynasty.
but when you're ranking them as teams that have been dominant, where would you put the Spurs compared to them?
If the Brooklyn Nets never win a ring, then I of course I put the Spurs above them, even though they're not a super team. A super team doesn't even have to be successful, to be honest, because we
No.
haven't seen Brooklyn accomplish anything. It's just a collection of superstar players.
Prime
their
example,
prime.
Brooklyn Nets.
You can't, like I said, in your prime, like because that Kobe, Steve Nash, and Dwight Howard, that was not super team either. Just want to
No,
throw that out
And
there.
I mean, they won shit.
On paper, yeah, super team.
Well, Kobe got hurt and Steve Nash was done. He was 40 years old.
Yo, Steve Nash is back, still hurting.
Yeah, so, like you said, Shaitan, when you were listing out the things, and when you Lakers, the 04, 05, I don't think they're a super team.
Not
I don't think so.
I'm
I don't
talking
think
about
they're-
the 2000s. I'm talking about Shaq and Kobe. That's a super team. I don't care what anyone says. Those are two top 10 players all time.
But so were LeBron and AD last year. Are they a super team?
Yeah, but
Look-
that's where the prolonged dominance comes in. Say they won this year, then I would say yes.
Then we shouldn't have to agree to disagree because I don't think so. But I mean, we can go all day. We can go all day on this topic. But
I mean,
in my
they were-
opinion, last decade, Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors, and the Brooklyn Nets are the only three super teams in this era, in my opinion, in this last decade. But I think everybody answered. Nobody here thinks that the Bucks are a super team.
Not even
Yeah.
close. It's more of a comedy act than anything else.
But
But-
they need something to talk about.
Yeah, they got to spice up the end of the NBA. You know, because of drafts next week.
It's just one guy.
So,
It's just Steve Jackson, man.
It's just Steven Jackson, right? I mean,
He's stirring up this whole controversy. out here, man.
one quick topic. It's not even a thing. Where Giannis is one ring compared to KD's two rings. What has more? What?
Hey, man, remember that post game? That was literally a direct shot at KD.
It
What do
was.
you say? We don't need super teams.
no, that was
I
Yeah.
won right here. That was a shot.
Harden.
I was against. That was. You
Oh.
could say anybody that literally was on a.
Yeah,
super
I agree with
You know what I
KD
mean?
also. KD also. But
Everybody.
because Siobhan brought this up while we were watching the game.
And I loved it.
Yeah, James Harden was the one that said, "Oh, it doesn't take skill to do what Giannis does," and it's so funny how this man
champion.
is a champion, and your ass
And he beat you.
home nursing your bum hamstring because of whatever strip clubs you be going to because that's what you deserve.
Does the lap dance be too hard?
Let's see, answer Shavam's question. I would pick Giannis ring over KD's
I think
two.
every single person here would.
I'm pretty sure everyone would pick
I
that.
don't ask, but I think everyone does. Yeah.
If I put Giannis
I'm
on that
zero
Warriors
rings
team
as
with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Love, and who was the set? Kevin Love and who? Tristan Thompson? Yeah, bye. They're both getting dogged. Left, right, up,
Even if
middle,
you didn't
down,
have
left.
KD
Everyone do it.
or- Bro, the 2015-2016 without KD went 70.
7-9.
They
Exactly.
don't need anyone. They don't need KD.
They lost Game 7 at home by one shot. That's how great they were.
Yeah.
They lost in Game 7. They didn't lose in.
Could have went either way.
Exactly. So it's just ridiculous, and that's why Kevin Durant. Listen, we all love the player. He's one of the greatest. He's if not the greatest scorer ever. Going forward, these rings, if he gets one, listen, man. I know from my perspective, it means nothing.
I'll take my 0 rings over any rings KD is winning right now.
And then he had the audacity to say that Warriors final was better than this one.
Yo, that Warriors final. Let me
They
tell
thought
you.
they were evenly matched with Cleveland. And at this point, man, he's just trying to self-defense his own rings.
Yo,
And what else would you expect from him? He's gonna try to defend himself, but he can't. Anyone that has watched basketball, knows it's straight joking. It's a laugh. You're just playing yourself, but it is what it is. He can't go back in time and change it. I don't think he would change it, to be honest.
The only game I ever enjoyed of the KD Warriors in the finals is that one LeBron puts up that 51 piece.
And they lost to J.R. Smith.
I've never seen something like that. And we're talking about LeBron here. We're not even talking about the Warriors. I'm just like, yo, LeBron, though.
Well, regardless, the NBA season has concluded. And that hurts to say. This time it concluded in July. Usually it concludes in June. But that's what COVID has done to our world. The regular season will begin October 19th. We have the draft next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Free agency starts first week of August, I'm pretty sure. It's all topsy-turvy based off of a few past years, and then the training camps and teams and players will all get back in September, around there. And the season will start again, October 19th. Back to normal as you can get. But the NBA season has concluded. The Milwaukee Bucks are our champions. And that's about it.
All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.